Hey guys, let's discuss current affairs. So the first question today relates to the RBI bi-monthly monetary policy, and the recent one came up with a few things like they increase the RBI has increased the GDP growth projection. Now this is a projection. Please know that they said that earlier we had estimated the GDP to be growing at 6.5%. Now it's going to grow at 7%. Now, for those of you not greatly familiar with what's GDP, gross domestic product, let me tell you what is it. Gross domestic product. That's how we pronounce it. It's not gross, it's gross. Gross domestic product. Gross domestic product is the money value of all goods and services produced in one country in 1 year. Produced in one country in 1 year. Let's say our country, India. We take the fiscal year. The financial year is also called the fiscal year. Now, this starts on 1st of April and ends on 31st of March of next year. So in this 12-month period, India would produce goods and services. All these goods and services have money value. The service I am delivering has a money value. The laptop has a money value. The ACs, the two ACs here have money value. The numerous lights have money value. Everything has a money value. Well, almost everything. Now, the money value of everything that is produced is added. The final value we get is gross domestic product. Now, India's total GDP is about $3.73 trillion. Remember, 1 trillion equals 1,000 billion. So let me repeat, 1 trillion equals 1,000 billion. So when we say $3.73 trillion, it is $3,730 billion. Now, in the first half of this financial year, we grew at 7.6%. Remember, the first quarter, as we would understand that a financial year can be divided into 4 quarters. Okay, a 12-month period is divided into 4 quarters of 3 months each. So April to June, July to September, October to December, January to March. In the first 2 quarters, we grew at 7.6% over the growth we had in the previous year, the same time basically. That is a corresponding period, the same previous year. Now we grew at 7.6%, which is substantially higher than the projection of 6.5%. So consequently, the RBI has increased the rate to 7%. It says now we believe that the growth will be at 7%. So by the end of this financial year, we are likely to have a total growth of maybe projected growth of about 7%, which means that our GDP at the end of this financial year would be $3.73 trillion plus 7% of $3.73 trillion as additional GDP this year. Okay, so that's the growth projection. I mean, look, growth projections are mere projections. They are guesstimates, conjectures as they are called. These are all like, okay, this is what we believe may happen. Now, this is pure conjecture, but it has a lot of basis in truth, in facts. But all these things are subject to market conditions, international markets, global market, that is Indian markets and all. Let me tell you something. It's subject to political stability. The next financial year, will start on the 1st of April next year. That is when the elections would take place, next financial year. But in the run-up, there could be some political instability somewhere within the country. There could be political instability in our neighborhood. Pakistan already is witnessing a lot of political instability. So is Bangladesh. Okay, so this could have spilling effect onto Indian Indian economy. Now, to take it further, the wars in Ukraine, between Ukraine and Russia, the war between Ukraine and Russia, and the war between Hamas and Israel. So there are plenty of things here. Plus, the Houthis have attacked, have increased their spate attacks on oil tankers in the Red Sea. The Houthis are a rebel terrorist group in Yemen. They are backed by Iran, which is Shia. The Houthis are also Shia. So there are multiple things that that could go bad. Like inflation is more or less has become stable in the US, but it could go out of hand. If it goes out of hand, the interest rates there might increase, which could pull away money from the Indian markets into the US markets, because the deposit rates would increase. Consequently, what would happen is the money would move out of the stock markets here into a market that is highly stable. The US is regarded as highly stable. Okay, So things could go really bad. Now, if you would want me to discuss the US economy, how money moves and everything, please leave a message at info@timeforeducation.com. I'll bring that in my next class. Unless you would demand something, unless you would ask me to discuss things, yeah, I will not be able to know what you want, isn't it? Because it's a one-way, street here. Now, the other rates haven't changed much. You see the repo rate. Now, what's the repo rate? Repo rate is a low rate of interest. Repo rate is a rate of interest charged with the RBI on short-term loans, to commercial banks. So, when commercial banks need money on a short-term basis, how short is short-term? Less than 1 year. So, repo rate is a interest charged by RBI on short-term loans to commercial banks. The other side is reverse repo, which is like, where commercial banks lend money to the RBI. Now that is 3.35%. Let me bring in some some certain percentages. These are called policy rates. What are they called? Policy rates. So repo rate 6.5%, reverse repo 3.35%. Then something called bank rate. Now bank rate is the interest rate charged on loans by RBI to commercial banks on a long-term basis. So bank rate is the interest rate charged by the RBI on long-term loans, that is more than a year, on long-term loans to commercial banks. Okay, so that's about 6.75%. Usually the bank rate is slightly higher than the repo rate. Okay, now let me bring in something more. Standing deposit facility. What is it? There are two new terms that we usually don't discuss in these kinds of sessions. One is standing deposit facility, the other is marginal standing facility. Why don't you write a short note on standing deposit facility? I'll go a bit slow, keeping in mind your need to write. So please write, because see, when we write, we tend to remember much better. I write a lot of notes before I come down to discuss things with you guys. Yeah. So write standing deposit facility. Very simple, common man's definition. Dash, you can put a long hyphen. Helps the RBI absorb excess liquidity is extra money supply from commercial banks without issuing government bonds. Okay. See, whenever, like for example, in the case of repo rate, the government issues bonds. That is how the money is purchased. My friend. Okay, see, when you say money is purchased, I'm talking bonds are purchased. Okay. See, you don't take a loan, you buy a loan. There is a particular financial language. Okay. You don't take a loan, you buy a loan. I normally say, let's buy a loan. You don't say, but when you go to a bank and say buy a loan, the banker would look at you, what are you talking about? So you just stick to certain simple terms. Okay. So now if commercial banks require paisa, if the RBI believes that there is a lot of money in the market, it would take away, liquidity from the commercial banks by without issuing any bonds. But it says that we will pay you rate of interest 6.25%. Now this is usually less than the repo rate, 0.25%, slightly lower than repo rate. Now let's write marginal standing facility. Commercial banks can borrow from the RBI overnight or on an emergency basis. You can write both, overnight or on an emergency basis, if interbank if interbank liquidity in brackets money supply, I repeat, commercial banks can borrow from the RBI overnight or in an emergency overnight. Okay. If interbank liquidity in brackets we wrote money supply dries up, DRIES, dries up completely, dash interest rate is higher than repo rate, See, repo rate is 6.5%, this is 6.75%. MSF is 6.75%. Remember, if the bank says that, well, there is not much money in the market available, but we need cash, they can borrow from the RBI, but they have to pay higher interest. Okay. In collaboration with which Indian Ministry did the UNICEF's Generation Unlimited introduce the Green Rising Initiative at COP28 Dubai. Conference of Parties 28 is a climate change initiative. In fact, it's the name of the meeting also. The UN Framework on Climate Change Conference was held in Dubai this time, and they started something called Green Rising. What is it? It's an initiative that would encourage young people to fight climate change, adverse climate change. Now the idea is through this, UNICEF and all that will take initiative to educate young people, empower them with skills, educate them about climate change, the adverse effects of climate change, empower them with the required skills so that they become climate ambassadors for their communities. See, because the future belongs to young people, and young people should be a lot more knowledgeable than they today are. So this is something that we should all be looking at. Now, what does it say? The Indian Ministry, the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Ministry of Forest and Climate Change. So who is the guy who heads this ministry? Bhupinder Yadav. You could write Bhupinder Yadav. Minister of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Bhupinder Yadav. Next, look at choice 1. Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, Rajkumar Singh. We'll stick to the choices mentioned here. Even if the minister holds additional ministry, another ministry, I will not bring that in. 2. Ministry of Corporate Affairs, Nirmala Sitharaman. Next, Ministry of Earth Sciences, Dr. Jitendra Singh. Sorry, I goofed up. I really made a blunder there. The Ministry of Earth Sciences is headed by Kiren Rijiju. Kiren, K-I-R-E-N, Kiren Rijiju, R-I-J-I-J-U. I repeat, R-I-J-I-J-U, Rijiju. Kiren Rijiju. Okay. Kiren Rijiju is a former law minister who had been moved to the Ministry of Earth Sciences. The last one, the Ministry of Science and Technology, is headed by Dr. Jitendra Singh. It's a state ministry with independent charge. So, Minister of State with independent charge, Dr. Jitendra Singh. Okay. Hey, by the way, UNICEF is mentioned there. United Nations Children's Fund. Back in school, it used to be called, or my school, it used to be called International Emergency Children's Fund. Now, it's United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund is what it was called. Nowadays, it's called Children's Fund. That's about it. The I and the E don't stand for anything. Okay. Apart from India, which country took part in the 4th edition of the joint military exercise named Windbags 2023? Vietnam, That's Vietnam in green there. This is Vietnam. Okay. You could say this is the only country to have defeated America in a war. But for 20 years there was a war between 1955 and 74, 75, and America lost it badly. Now you may bring in Afghanistan, but then they did achieve a lot of stuff in Afghanistan, which they couldn't do anything. They couldn't achieve in Vietnam. You could write about each of this, but do you know what is the full name of WinBacks? You could write Vietnam, India. V for Vietnam, I for India, IN for India, B for bilateral, bi means two, lat means side, so two-sided. Bilateral army exercise, bilateral army exercise. Okay. You could write this. The capitals are mentioned. As you can see, all these choices have names basically, except for Taiwan, which is here, but the capital is not mentioned here because it's chopped out. Yeah. You could write the capital Hanoi, Hanoi. Vietnam capital Hanoi, Hanoi. Hanoi. And the president here, it's a single party authoritarian communist state, my friends. They call it a socialist state, but practical purposes it is communist state. So for all practical purposes, it's a communist single party state. The president is Vo Vam Tuang. Let me spell Vo, V-O, Vo. That's one word. Second word, Von, V-A-N, Von. Vo Von. Tuang, T-H-U-O-N-G. T-H-U-O-N-G. Vu Von Tiong. Okay. That's Vietnam. Its currency is Dong, D-O-N-G, Dong. Let's look at Thailand. This is Thailand. Pretty large country. Yeah. Thailand is a Buddhist country. So is Vietnam, of course. All of these countries are Buddhist. Burma, Myanmar, that is. Thailand, Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam. Technically, they are all, the predominant faith in this part of the world is Buddhism. So Thailand's capital is Bangkok, as the picture map shows there. Bangkok, B-A-N-G-K-O-K. And the Prime Minister is Srettha Thavisin. Srettha, S-R-E-T-T-A. S-R-E-T-T-H-A. Srettha. Srettha. Thavisin. T-H-A-V-I-S-I-N. T-H-A-V-I-S-I-N. Thavisin. Srettha Thavisin. And the currency is Baht. B-A-H-T. B-A-H-T. Laos. There is this country in yellow here. Laos also see, like Vietnam and China, Laos also is a single party authoritarian state, dictatorship, communist state, socialist state. Socialism and communism are different, but for this discussion we'll club them together. Okay. So Laos capital is Vientiane. V-I-E-N-T-I-A-N-E. V-I-E-N-T-I-A-N-E. Vientiane. And Vientiane. The president here is, you could write Thongloun Sisulit. I'll spell T-H-O-U-N T-H-O-U-N-G L-O-U-N L-O-U-N Thongloun Sisulit S-I-S-O-U-L-I-T-H S-I-S-O-U-L-I-T-H Sisulit. Cambodia, there is this purple or whatever color you call it, mauve, violet, whatever. I am not greatly comfortable with colors. So, Cambodia or Cambodia, Cambodia, Cambodia. It's said to be named after a Brahmin prince named Cambodia. Yeah. So right, Cambodia. Phnom Penh, that's the capital. P-H-N. I repeat, P-H-N-O-M. Then P-E-N-H. It's a democratic dictatorship. There is a monarchy, but the ruler in this family is a guy who's titled prime minister, but it's a dictatorship, hereditary dictatorship. Okay, so now it is Hun Manet, Hun, Hun Manet, M-A-N-E-T, Hun Manet, Hun Manet. You know, sorry guys, I'm burning. Hun Manet is the son of the previous prime minister Hun Sen, S-E-N, Sen. Hun Sen had been the prime minister since 1983. So from 83-85 till date, till recently he was the prime minister. So he ruled the country with an iron fist. Now he's succeeded by his son. So all elections are rigged actually. Taiwan, this is Taiwan. This is a tiny country of Taiwan. The capital is Taipei, T-A-I-P-E-I. I repeat, T-A-I-P-E-I, Taipei. And the president is Tsai Ing-wen. Let's be spelled T-S-A-I space Ing, I-N-G, Ing hyphen W-E-N. International Anti-Corruption Day is observed annually on 9th December. 9th December. December 7th, you could write Indian Armed Forces Flag Day. Indian Armed Forces. Indian Armed Forces or Armed Forces, both are right. Okay. Indian Armed Forces Flag Day. Flag Day. December 10th is Human Rights Day. World Human Rights Day. World Human Rights Day. December 11th, International Mountain Day. Mountain, M-O-U-N-T-A-I-N, Mountain Day. December 14th, World Energy Conservation Day. World Energy Conservation Day. Member of Parliament Mahua Moitra was recently expelled from the Lok Sabha over cash for query allegations. She is said to have taken money to ask certain kinds of questions to favor a particular businessman. He is associated with All India Trinamool Congress. All India Trinamool Congress. So not much to discuss. All India Trinamool Congress. It's in power in West Bengal. At which of the following historical places did Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurate the first Indian architecture and design biennial? It was at the Red Fort. And do you know who built the Red Fort? Shah Jahan. So, to give you an idea, Shah Jahan ruled between 1627 to 1628 to 1657. 1628 to 1657. 57, his son, towards the end of 57, his son Aurangzeb came to power. So for nearly 29 to 30 years, Shah Jahan ruled the roost. He was a Mughal emperor. Shah Jahan, to repeat, ruled between 1628 to 1657. Now, during this time, he built the Taj Mahal, Red Fort, two of his more famous buildings. And both of them had the same architecture. Ustad Ahmad Lahori. Ustad Ahmad Lahori. L-A-H-O-R-I. Okay. Now, knowing that, he ruled between 1628 and 1657, these two were built around the same time. But, what was his real name? Shah Jahan was not his real name. It was a title he took when he became the emperor. Shah means, it's a Persian thing. Shah means emperor, king. And Jahan means world. King of the world was Shah Jahan. His father was a guy called Jahangir. Jahan, Agir means Raja. Okay. King of the world was Jahangir. Jahangir's true name was Salim. Salim Anarkali, the same Salim. Okay. His son Shah Jahan was named Khurram. 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 That's his real name. Khurram. But he took the title Shah Jahan. And Jahangir blinded one of his sons. He put him, Murad, I think his name was Murad Baksh. He put him in jail, and later Shah Jahan killed his brother, gouged out his eyes, and killed the brother also. Yeah. Oh, so as to remove any challenge to his ambitions to become the emperor. Yeah. You know that Qutub Minar. Qutub Minar is not named after Qutb-ud-Din Aibak. Qutb-ud-Din Aibak started constructing the Qutub Minar, but it is not named after him. It is said to be named after a Sufi guru, a Sufi saint named Qutb-ud-Din Bakhtiyar Kaki, K-A-K-I, Qutb-ud-Din Kaki. Victoria Memorial is in Kolkata. It is dedicated to the great British Queen. When I say great, it is for them, not for us. So the great British monarch Queen Victoria, who ruled between 1876 and 1901. 1876 से 1901 तक she ruled. But the construction of this particular Victoria Memorial was, it started in 1906. 1906. It lasted for 15 years till 1921. It was meant to honor the memory of Victoria, Queen Victoria. But unfortunately for the guys who were building it, they were building it in the capital of India, British India. The capital of British India was Calcutta in those days. But after starting, 5 years after the start of the construction of the Victoria Memorial, the capital of India was shifted from Kolkata, to Delhi. Got it? So finally, it became the capital. It became a memorial in the provincial capital of a major province called Bengal. That's it. It's a beautiful building. Victoria Memorial is a beautiful building. So is Red Fort. Ajanta and Ellora caves. I'm spending some time here, so because we normally don't get these kinds of choices. Ajanta caves are a little over, 90 kilometers, 95 kilometers from Aurangabad. And these caves house Buddhist art. A lot of beautiful Buddhist sculptures, arts. I've been here. It's one of the most beautiful places in the world. Now, there are about 29 caves here. There are about 29, I think, Ajanta. Yeah, 29 caves. They're all Buddhist and rock cut. They're all chiseled on the sides of a mountain. Mountain from the top, and there are entrances, and inside you would find all these vigrahas, sculptures of Bhagwan Gautam Buddha and other bodhisattvas and all that. Really beautiful. Ellora is about 30 kilometers from Aurangabad, and most of the caves here, there are about 100 caves, and these are all Hindu, Jain and Buddhist caves. In Ellora, you would find the Kailash Nath Swami temple. The Kailash temple is a single, it's built from a single rock. The guys who built it, and as you know, it's dedicated to Bhagwan Shiv. From the top, they started, from the top of the hill, they went down and built the temple. You should see it to believe it. It's easily one of the most beautiful temples on the planet. Yeah, it's a magnificent structure. Please, if you have not been here, you should go there. To increase the domestic availability and to keep prices in check, that's to control inflation, the export of which agricultural produce was banned by the government of India. Yeah, onion. And I was reading about onions. See, whenever there is a choice, something that, let's say onions, yeah, we usually say onion, it's onion. Onions are produced in large parts of the world, especially in Africa and Asia. And which country is the biggest producer of onions? Not India. China. China, top 3 producers of onion, you could write. China, then Mali, MALI, which is in Africa. Mali. And the most surprising part, Japan in the 3rd place. So China, Mali, Japan. China produces 19% of global onion production. Okay, 19% of the global output of onions comes from China. 20%, take it 20%, 1/5. One more, let's look at rice. The biggest 3 producers of rice are China, 1, China, 2, India, 3, Bangladesh. In the order, okay? Biggest producer is China, number 2 is India, number 3 is Bangladesh. Okay, let's write about wheat also. Just wheat. 1, China, 2, India, yeah, same as rice. And 3rd, for wheat, it's Russia, RUSSIA, Russia. We normally say Russia, it's pronounced Russia. See, I'll tell you the right thing. You don't use it everywhere. You understand that? You use it only where it's understood. From here, the questions are easy. Donald Tusk is the new Prime Minister of Poland. It's the new Prime Minister of Poland. You know the French president is Emmanuel Macron. Emmanuel Macron, MACRON. Germany has a chancellor whose name is Olaf Scholz. Olaf, OLAF, Olaf Scholz, SCHOLZ, Scholz. Italy has a prime minister named Giorgia Meloni, MELONI, Meloni. And Greece has a prime minister named Kyriakos Mitsotakis. I'll spell Kyriakos, KYRIOKAS, Kyriakos Mitsotakis, MITSOTAKIS. I repeat, Mitsotakis, MITSOTAKIS, Mitsotakis. The Supreme Court of India upheld the validity of the centre's 2019 decision to repeal the special status of J&K under Article 370 of the Constitution of India. This has been dusted, washed, everything, my friends, and dried also. So I'm not going to discuss this. Unless you want me to discuss this, leave a mail. We'll definitely discuss this. Who is the 19th Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh? Dr. Mohan Yadav. Dr. Mohan Yadav. Recently, elections were held to 5 states. Okay, and 5 or 4, 4 states, and 3 were won by BJP. 5 states, elections were held to 5 states. I'll give you the names of all the states and the chief ministers. We start with Madhya Pradesh. Dr. Mohan Yadav. Dr. Mohan Yadav. Rajasthan, Bhajanlal Sharma. Bhajanlal Sharma. Then Chhattisgarh, Vishnu Sai Dio. Vishnu Sai Dio. Telangana, Congress government. The first 3 were BJP. Telangana Congress government run by Chief Minister Revant Reddy. Revant, REVANTH, Revant Reddy. And the last is Mizoram, MIZORAM. Mizoram. The Chief Minister is Lal Dumna. I think there is a question, so we'll go there. Okay? In this discussion itself, in this handout, or rather in this session, we are going to discuss Mizoram also. Which country inaugurated 2 nuclear submarines named Emperor Alexander III and Krasnoyarsk? Russia. Okay, Russia. It has the 3rd biggest navy in the world, my friends. The biggest navy belongs to the US, second is China, and the 3rd is Russia. That's not much to discuss. Let's discuss capitals for a change. Indonesia, Jakarta. The president we have been discussing, Joko Widodo and all that. No. Capital, Jakarta. JAKRTA. China, Beijing. BEIJING. IJING, Beijing. Russia, Moscow. Ukraine, Kiev, KYIV, Kiev. Poland, Warsaw, WARSAW. What is the agriculture credit limit set by the central government for the 2023 fiscal? 20 lakh crore. This represents a 11% hike over last year, my friends. Over the last year, this 20 crore thing is 11% hike. Exactly, not exactly 11%, but you could say, yeah, 11%. Because the previous amount was 18 lakh crore. This is about 2 lakh crore more, so 20 lakh crore. And the focus of this particular number will be animal husbandry, that is rearing of poultry, cattle, pigs, goats, all that stuff. Okay, so animal husbandry. Then we have fisheries, cultivation of fishes, catching fishes, all those basically. So prawns, pisciculture, all that stuff. So fisheries, animal husbandry, and dairy farming. Three things that would be the focus of this credit target. India will play their first match against Bangladesh on 20th January 2024. This will be held, 2024 ICC Under 19 Cricket World Cup will be held in South Africa. Okay. Now I want you to write 2022 ICC Under 19 Cricket World Cup was held in West Indies. 2022 West Indies. 2022 West Indies. Winner India. Fifth title. So India defeated England in the final. Okay. Which Indian premier institute developed a technology called Amrit, which is arsenic and metal removal by Indian technology for the removal of arsenic and metal ions from water. So harmful elements could be removed from water using indigenous technology called Amrit. This is IIT Madras, and they have come up with this technology. I'll tell you about DRDO's chief. You could write DRDO chief. DRDO is Defense Research and Development Organization. To repeat, Defense Research and Development Organization. Chief is Samir Kamath. K-A-M-A-T. Kamath. Now, there's not much to discuss here. India will host the 4-day IBPS World Investment Conference in New Delhi. The correct statements about this, all of these are correct. So, we don't really have to worry too much about it, because when all choices are correct, there's not much to discuss also. Yeah. And what is WIPA? World Association of Investment Promotion Agencies. Let me repeat. World Association of Investment Promotion Agencies. That's a full form of WIPA. W-A-I-P-A. India's first bullet train station has been unveiled in Ahmedabad. India has embarked on this project, bullet train project, connecting Mumbai with Ahmedabad, that is Gandhinagar, Sabarmati and all. Now let me tell you something. This is a 508 kilometer stretch. Okay. This is going to cost about 1,10,000 crore rupees. Estimates vary, but 1,10,000 crore rupees. Nearly 88% of this, about 88,000 crore, will be lent by Japan. It's a 50-year loan at 0.1% interest. 0.1%, because it's a very low rate of interest. It's called a soft loan. So 1.1 lakh crore budget, 88,000 crore to be lent by Japan. Term 50 years, interest rate 0.1%. But there is a suspension, what is called a moratorium, first 15 years. No payment to Japan for the first 15 years after the start of the first train. Okay. Now one more thing. This will cut the travel time between Mumbai and Ahmedabad from 7 hours to about 2 hours. So This is a great project. We should have something like this, my friends. We are a growing country. We should reflect all these things should reflect in our, our infrastructure. Zoram People's Movement leaders Lal Dumna recently took over as the 6th Chief Minister of Mizoram. That's the Chief Minister's name, Lal Dumna. Okay, he's a former IPS officer. Who is the Chief Minister of Arunachal Pradesh? And by the way, Lal Dumna is also the first MP to be disqualified under the anti-defection law. What is defection? When an MP or an MLA leaves the parent party on whose ticket she was elected and joins another party, such action is called defection. So when an MP, let's say I am an MP, I leave my parent party, join another party, then my action would be called defection. This is a betrayal of people's trust. I could have been elected because I belong to a particular party or for what I represent, basically the party's ideology. But if I go to some other party, then I am betraying people's trust. Yeah, because that's what they voted for, basically. So, Lal Dumna recently took oath as the 6th Chief Minister of Mizoram. Now, when he did this defection, he was fired. He's the first Indian MP to be fired under the, what is called anti-defection laws. So, let's look at the choices. Assam's Chief Minister, Himanta Biswa Sharma. Meghalaya, Conrad Sangma, CONRAD, Conrad Sangma, SANGMA, Conrad Sangma. Sikkim, Prem Singh Gole. Arunachal Pradesh, Pema Khandu, PEMA, Pema Khandu, KHANDU. Which bank in partnership with MasterCard has introduced a youth-centric credit card named First Swipe? Cards are swiped now. So IDFC First Bank, whose CEO is V. Vaidyanathan. Axis Bank CEO is Amitabh Chaudhary. Union Bank of India is run by A. Manimekhalai. HDFC Bank, Sashidhar Jagdishan. And SBI chairperson is Dinesh Khara, Khara, Dinesh Khara. Okay. According to the annual list released by the Food Guide Taste Atlas, Indian cuisine is a dash best, 11th best. See, I don't believe in all these things. I have told you repeatedly. Because see, what's good, what's not good is a matter of opinion. And these are based on people's feedback, nothing more than that. Okay. So there are a lot of, most Indians can't eat Italian food, they can't eat Lebanese food, Grecian food and all that. But then, these are all votes based, so we'll just have to go with the choices. Okay. Taste Atlas named 3 cuisines to be the world's best. The best cuisine in the world is Italian cuisine. Italian, ITALIAN. Number 1, Italian. Number 2, Japanese. And number 3, what is that? Greek cuisine. So number 1, Italy. Number 2, Japan. Number 3, Greece. GREECE. Now most of us can't eat Japanese. Most Indians won't be able to, eat raw fish as the Japanese eat. Sushi and all that stuff. But it's food and people enjoy food. Different people, different tastes. But don't ever say that this is bad food and all that. It's someone else's food. Matter then. The Global River Cities Alliance was launched at the UN Climate Change Conference in Dubai. All of them are correct, so I'm not going to discuss this also. I told you, anything that is in full, basically all the choices are right. There's not much to discuss. But revise this kind of stuff. Okay. Identify the correct statements regarding this report titled State Finances, a Study of Budgets. Oh, a lot of states are, they have a huge fiscal deficit. Fiscal deficit is when expenditure is more than revenue. You have a difference. You have a gap. That's called deficit. Okay. So 100 rupees expenses, 80 rupees revenue, 20 rupees deficit. Now to bridge the deficit, Someone has to, the state has to borrow money. That borrowing is called fiscal deficit. Simply. So 20 rupees is already deficit. Plus another 20 rupees is borrowed. The total thing is 40 rupees. So actually things are not good in India, across the thing, my friends, across central as well as state governments. This is what is called general government, central and states. Okay. Which country recently honored 3 Indian Army officers with the prestigious Golden Owl Award? Sri Lanka. When I was reading about this, I was quite surprised that the award itself. See, in Sri Lanka, Indians military personnel go to Sri Lanka for a certain kind of course. Now, this course is given at they have a college called like we have Indian Military Academy, Defense Staff College. They have something called Defense Services Command and Staff College. Defense Services Command and Staff College. Yes, that's the name. Defense Services Command and Staff College. And the top 3 the positions were taken by Indians. An Indian Navy man, Navy person, an Indian Army personnel, and an Indian Air Force personnel. All of them got the highest prizes, highest awards. With their outstanding performances, they were given. That there is no point in taking names of this, basically. Okay? No exam will ask you who are these 3 persons, basically. Maldives is Prime Minister is, President. They have a new president, so you may expect this question in the exam. The president is Mohammed, Mohammed, that's how he writes his name. Mohammed, Mohammed Muizzu, Muizzu, Mohammed Muizzu. Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Seychelles, President Wavel Ramkalawan. Let me spell Wavel, W-A-V-E-L, Wavel Ramkalawan, R-A-M-K-A-L-A-W-A-N, Ramkalawan. Mauritius Prime Minister is Pravind Jugnauth, Pravind, P-R-A-V-I-N-D, Pravind Jugnauth, J-U-G-N-A-U-T-H. With which premier educational institution did Kotak Mahindra Bank join hands to launch the Kotak School of Sustainability? IIT Kanpur. See, this school will focus on, clean energy, climate finance, ecology, environmental protection, stuff like that. Okay. Now, who is the CEO of Kotak Mahindra Bank? The Kotak Mahindra Bank CEO is Ashok Vaswani. Ashok Vaswani. V-A-S-W-A-N-I. Vaswani. As per the Global Status Report on Road Safety 2023, the number of annual road traffic deaths fell slightly to 1.19 million. WHO published this report. Okay, usually we know the names of the heads of these organizations: WHO, Tedros Adhanom. We'll just stick to simple things. Head offices: WHO, Geneva, G-E-N-E-V-A, Geneva in Switzerland. UNICEF, New York City. UNESCO, Paris. IMF and World Bank, Washington DC. Which city won the right to host the 2030 World Expo? Riyadh, which is the capital of Saudi Arabia. Riyadh is also going to host the Asian Games in 2034. 2034 Asian Games, in Riyadh. Riyadh is also the head office of Gulf Cooperation Council, GCC. Gulf Cooperation Council, whose members are, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, and Oman. So 6 members. Gulf Cooperation Council. Then look at choice 2, Busan. It was the host of the 2002 Asian Games. Paris, France is a home of, we just mentioned, UNESCO, and also, ladies and gentlemen, also the venue of 2024 Olympic Games, Summer Olympic Games, 2024 Summer Olympic Games. Rome, Italy, the head office of Food and Agricultural Organization, FAO, Food and Agricultural Organization. Athens, Greece, of course, Athens is the capital of Greece, so not much to discuss. Nothing, no global body resides here. Yeah, is headquartered here. That's all from me, Bharat C. Jain. Have a lot of fun. Stay curious. Thank you for being here. Thank you.